We all carry two faces, the one the world sees and the one we live in. In the wild marshes of North Carolina, where birds cry over tall reeds and the water lies still between tangled grasses, Delia Owens doesn't just tell a gripping murder story. She composes an existential tragedy about loneliness, prejudice, and the two images every human being is forced to carry. Kaya, known only as the Marsh Girl, is the embodiment of the split between how we are seen and who we truly are. Hello everyone, it's great to have a chance to walk with you again through New York City. Today, while we walk, I'll talk about the book named When the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I think we can call this book the two images of a lonely soul. Kaya, the judged face and the forgotten soul. From the very first pages, we meet Kaya through other people's eyes. A wild child, dirty, abandoned, uneducated. That is the social image, the mask imposed on her, the shell built out of the town's silence and the absence of compassion. But as Kierkegaard wrote, the deepest form of despair is to be someone you are not. For Kaya, the tragedy is not simply that she is misunderstood. The tragedy is that she has no voice to resist that image. Throughout her childhood, the image the world forces onto her not only makes others stay away, it also makes her doubt her own worth. She lives quietly, never going to school, never joining the town, never even being called by her name, only by a nickname. This is a primal form of loneliness, a kind of alienation that doesn't need bars or chains, only silence and prejudice. Inside, there is another world, the second image. Owens doesn't let Kaya remain just a victim. She opens a door for the reader into Kaya's inner world, a world that is quiet, subtle, vibrant, and full of knowledge. Kaya loves nature. She observes every wind pattern, every feather, every cycle of the tide. She teaches herself to read, to draw, to study biology. She lives like an anonymous scientist, an unnamed painter, a forgotten poet. This second image, her true self, is not a justification, but a silent declaration that Kaya has never been what the world said she was. Nietzsche once said, "Become who you are." And Kaya, in absolute solitude, does exactly that. Not through speeches, not through rebellion, but through a steady insistence on living truthfully, even when no one acknowledges it. Owens sends a clear philosophical message. You do not need to prove yourself to the world, as long as you do not lose yourself in the process. Two layers of story: murder mystery and ontological drama. On the surface, When the Crawdads Sing is a murder mystery with a shocking twist around the death of Chase Andrews, the man who once loved and then betrayed Kaya. But beneath that, the novel is asking a deeper philosophical question. Can a person live entirely by their inner image without any need for recognition from the world? The answer is not easy. Kaya tries to live that way, but not without wounds. She loves and is betrayed. She hopes and is rejected. She forgives and is still suspected. Every time an external image is imposed on her, she retreats further into her shell. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote, "Hell is other people." For Kaya, hell is the gaze of others, the gaze that turns a child into a frightening legend, a young woman into a murder suspect. Justice, truth, and the final image. When Kaya is put on trial, her image in the eyes of the jury and the whole town is still a distorted reflection. Even though she is declared innocent, Owens doesn't allow us to fully trust in justice. She leaves us with one last twist. Kaya may actually be the one who killed Chase. So, is she guilty? If you only look at the surface, perhaps yes. But if you look at the essence, this act becomes the final uprising of a human being whose very humanity has been strangled all her life. And that's the most painful existential insight of the book. Sometimes, in order to protect your true self, you are forced to destroy the image the world has imposed on you. Reading Kaya as a mirror of ourselves. When the Crawdads Sing is not just about Kaya, it holds up a mirror to the reader. Who among us has never felt misunderstood? Who has never felt like they were living two lives, one to survive and one to truly be themselves? The greatness of this novel lies in the fact that it doesn't preach integration, nor does it glorify rebellion. It simply whispers, "Go back to your own marsh, the hidden place where no one sees you, but you are truly alive." The marsh is not escapism. It is the inner space where your second image, your real one, quietly breathes. A lonely symphony for those living with two images. Delia Owens has composed a love song between nature and selfhood, between loneliness and freedom. In that song, Kaya, the marsh girl, becomes a symbol of all of us. People who live with two images, sometimes unable to reconcile them even to the end of our lives. So how will you live? By showing the world a carefully edited version of yourself? Or by letting your true self bloom quietly in the corners no one looks at? Kaya doesn't answer. She simply leaves behind shells and a few pages of poetry, just enough to remind us that truth does not need recognition. It only needs to be lived.